Thank you. Hello, everybody. This is Oakwalker again. We're back on our podcast. It's in the evening where we are here today, just starting off. Sun's about to go down, and we're here to chat and discuss, our shamanic stuff with you as we go forward all day long. So I'm going to throw this over to Frank, who's got some good ideas for this episode, and just let him roll with it, and then we'll go. Thank you, Mr. Frank Caldwell
All
Stronghorse.
right. Thank you, Oakwalker. So, you know, with these, what we're doing here is we're having medicine talks. We're sharing
Yeah.
medicine back and forth and giving reflections to one another from our different shamanic paths and, talking about current, situations, current events, bringing in philosophy, bringing in all theology, bringing in all kinds of different aspects to try to weave together a story, because the stories are what really inform people.
Mhm.
And so on our last podcast, Oakwalker was talking about he wanted because he works with for a company that works with kids who have a troubled history, and
Mhm.
yeah, I honor him for that work. I think it's pretty amazing. So he said, yeah, boy, I wish I could figure some way to show these kids that they're safe. And that word safe just jumped out at me, and I thought, God, that's a big piece. It's huge in the world today in terms of all kinds of things. And so I want to tear that apart, and kind of talk about it in different contexts. And the more I thought about it, the word truth kept coming up,
Mhm.
and kept thinking, what's truth and safety got to do with one another? And so, as any medicine talk, when things will open up and you'll be like off on this, then you'll go that way, and then these different portals, you're off exploring stuff, And so, anyway, the more I thought about truth, one of the uh, key lines from a movie that I always loved was Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. I love that. I just God, that is covers so much. So anyway, I, I kept thinking about that. So then I've been over this past week. I've been uh, sort of percolating with this safe and truth, and on a microcosmic level, the best way to understand it is that if you're in a relationship with somebody and that person is really honest and truthful with you, you feel safe. If you're
Mhm.
in a relationship with somebody who isn't honest and isn't truthful, you don't feel safe. And that's just a fact of life, and the dynamics of that is trying to get to a place where people feel safe enough to speak their truth, and that's both people have to contribute to that, both people have to work on it. But if the relationship can evolve into a thing where you feel as though you're safe speaking the unspoken, as we call it, then you can sort of develop your truth. And so the more I started thinking about this, I think on a global level, I mean, safety is probably it's not only the most important thing for everybody in this on the globe, but it's also the thing that the elites, or what I call the money changers, use to generate their fear games. I mean, they figured out a long time ago is they can feed you fear and then create problems and then create solutions to those problems and then go to the bank. I mean, that's really just kind of how they function,
Sell you
and
solutions to the
people,
problems.
yeah, yeah. And so people have been buying in that for a long time. And so but the true thing is that the safety that most people are seeking is a myth. It's a myth. I mean, number one, most people, the biggest fear is physical death. which of
Yeah.
course you and I know there is none. It's
Right.
the spirit just moves from one space to another, and so that fear is unfounded. But the different aspects of society over the thousands of years have used that as a fulcrum to keep their power over the people, because
Yes.
the last thing they want is to have them understand they really are already safe, you know?
Hmm.
And so what that led me to was here's the statement that I want to make, and I want to take, I'm going to throw it over to you after I make this statement,
Okay.
because I think this is the way we ought to approach it. From my experience in terms of doing ceremony and sun dances and 30 years of the shamanic work, the real truth is that it emanates out from the creator. Then it moves down through the angelic hierarchy into the multidimensional energy conscious body of the planet. And then it moves into our multidimensional conscious body as a human being or as a spirit being or as a soul on this planet. And so that connection is really the essence, once you make that, of one's safety. Because in that, truth is exposed in a way that cannot be challenged. All right. And everything outside of that really is smoke and mirrors,
Hmm.
and it's been going on forever because people lost contact with that stream of consciousness,
Hmm.
and they've been told that they can't have that contact, that they got to go through some other thing or some other institution or whatever, and they'll tell them whether they have it or not, and all the various ways that they throw that together. So, I mean, how does that resonate with you? What do you think?
Oh my God. All right. So I want to hit like all over that, right? Because you just,
Yeah.
imagine the most multi-petaled flower just springing
Right.
open, and I want to talk about every petal,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
know.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
the way you ended that was exactly where one of my major wisdom books that I've been following since the 90s is called A Course in Miracles. Now, even this book was channeled by Yeshua ben Joseph into the planet in the 70s in order to try and, well, you just have to read it. But it is all based on the central premise that nothing that is real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists, which is simple logic. On the face of it, it's true. The, and then the rest of the 360 pages of text deal with how to determine what is real. And the whole Course in Miracles is about, it begins with none of this is real. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Whatever you're looking at, you look at that, that's not real. That's not real.
Right.
That's not real. Okay, so
Right. Right. Right.
so um and it gets back to safety because nothing real can be threatened, but what is real is my immortal soul. I mean, the fact that I can be here talking to you, communicating to someone who appears to be another being in this particular reality that we're sharing is the living proof that my immortal soul is real. Okay. Winnow it all down. You can go through all the different philosophies, all of the wisdom keepers for all of history of humankind, and you always get back down to the eternal nature of the human soul. And I believe also the planetary soul, the animal soul, all the souls, right?
Right. Right.
All souls, all our relations, as the
Right.
Indians love to say. And so that to me, once I finally got that, once I finally realized that nothing, ultimately, nothing can harm me. I can die, my body can hurt, I have aches and pains that I don't even want to talk about because they're so cliche. I'm 70, I hurt, my all that is happening, right? When the times I have nearly died, very, very nearly died, I was terrified. It is a frightening, terrifying experience. But at the bottom of it, I knew that it was just a transition, that my actual immortal soul is in no danger. And that is critical. That's where the lesson of safety comes in, because I couldn't speak my truth until I realized that no one else could hurt me. You know, that no matter how
Mhm.
vile people get, no matter how angry or abusive people get, and I grew up in an abusive family who don't believe they were, but they were.
Right.
Right? And
Yeah, y'all were just great.
oh yeah, we were so fucking normal and abusive. So
Yeah,
and
you're the
so
abnormal one.
right, yeah, I was the weirdo. And so that's been a hard lesson for me. That's been one of the major lessons of my life, is understanding that it's okay for me to be me, to be this, and even what you're looking at is just my persona. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, I'm having long hair. you know
Right,
Fuck you, I'm growing a
right,
beard. I like these
right,
glasses. you know
right, right,
um and that's not a reflection of my internal soul, although it's a pretty handy reflection of my attitude, which leaves a little to be desired on a lot of cases. So, um, so there's that piece, okay? That piece that you can't hurt me, Stronghorse. You can't hurt me. You're not gonna. You can try, but you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me either. Go ahead, say hello. Okay. And she's become the emotional support dog. So if I express any emotion, she's got to come and fix it.
Now you're safe.
She wants me to, yeah, now I'm safe. She wants me to feel better. She came in for that. So
That's right.
she's just adorable. And so that gets back to the controllers. So it is fear, which my beloved mentor Oscar used to love to say, fear is false evidence appearing real. That's what fear stands for. And that's
Right,
basically true. And that's where the kings came from. That's where, this is going to hit home, that's where Abraham came from. Abraham was a general. He was a general protecting his village from banditos and assholes who wanted to raid them for their resources, for their granaries, for their herds, for their livelihood, right? And that shit was going
right,
around all over the place. And it was going
right,
around all over the place, all over the place. So that was a that was a necessary compilation of people gathering together in order to protect themselves and sustain themselves. But
right,
out of that, you have to have that fearless leader guy. So the fearless leaders eventually grew up to become kings. You can see it in the Old Testament. And they become kings and they become influential and powerful and egocentric. And the next thing you know, they've got to be selling a story to get people to be loyal to them, to get people to do their bidding and increase their wealth. Because once they became kings, then their followers, their base, became their sustenance, right? Kings didn't work.
right,
They just were figureheads, and people fed the figurehead with their resources, which is the same thing we're doing right now with taxes. We got a king in the White House. We got, people who want to bring all that back into existence as the paradigm of um, of this disconnection from spirit that we're living through plays itself out through its final days. I believe we're in its final days, and the
Right.
shift is going
Absolutely.
to be a beautiful, welcome relief, even if it happens so slowly that I'm going, oh, wait, we've shifted. What? I missed it, but we're
Right.
shifted.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's like,
Right.
oh, dang, I was hoping for I wanted to see it. I
The
wanted to
Big
see the
Bang.
shift, right? And it's going to be like, oh, good job. We did it. Gosh, now that I think about
Well,
it,
you, well, I think that a big factor in this shift is going to be people understanding that they're safe. People
yeah,
understand that they're moving into something that is going to foster and nurture not only truth, because right now, I mean, it's like we're living in this Alice in Wonderland of lying, I mean, it's just
yeah,
unbelievable. It's just magnified to the nth degree. And
yeah,
people are doing it just straight up. Yeah, I'm lying to you, and there's nothing you can do about it,
right. Yeah. What are you going to do
and
about it?
everybody's thinking, oh my God. And everybody's feeling like they don't feel safe,
Yeah,
and I think that's the key to what they're trying to formulate in the minds of the people, yeah, that's right. You're not safe. You got to rely on us. We're bringing in the big guns and we're
yeah.
going to take care of you, but what none of those people understand is that the environment is changing to the place where they're going to become so inconsequential
Mhm.
in the overall scheme of things that there's going to be a rising tide of human awareness that's just going to suppress all that, and I think that's what we're seeing, I
Yeah.
mean
People
the,
just
the
aren't
the
going to
level
take
of
it anymore.
no, people just they're done, even the people that I mean, and here's the thing about when you live in a time where there's so much lying going on and so much untruth and so many of these, like you're describing, these kings that are trying to uh, keep themselves in power and this and that, it creates such an unstable environment that people start making stuff up in order to try to be rational with an irrational. They're trying to make real the unreal,
Yes,
and you can't do that.
right.
It's just
It's
an
bullshit.
exercise of futility. So I think I'm trying to get across is that as this shift happens, there's going to be a harmonic resonance that is created by this stream of consciousness that's coming down from the creator through the angelic hierarchy. We heard it in our session last time with the elders.
Mhm.
They said this is, we're doing our work. We're, hang in there. We're mixing up these energies to birth what we need for the
Mhm.
future. And it's both light and dark, but it's going to happen. And so we're like, okay, we good news.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, right, right. Let us know if we can help. Anyway, so I think this is just going to keep rising into a degree where people are going to be overwhelmed by the synchronicity and the heart and the harmonic resonance that they're seeing.
I sure
Things
hope
are going to
so.
open up for them that they never imagined was going to be possible.
Mhm.
They never imagine, people they're going to find themselves in certain situations that is totally built for them in the moment. And if
Mhm.
they can see that and if they can step into it, they're going to get a surge of power, spiritual power that they're just going to be astounded by. And
Uh-huh.
I think we're going to hear a lot of stories like that. I really do. I
And
really believe that,
we
you know,
are
and
hearing
and,
them, and
and
people are coming up to me. Um, I know that at work there's this old Catholic lady, and she's been Catholic her whole life, and she's never known anything else, right? Except for the fact that she's a healer. She started healing when she was a child, and she did it with all of the traditional, I call upon you, Jesus and God, to heal this person. And now, after all of these years, and she's in her 70s, she's going, I've been studying lately. and and they left Mary Magdalene out of the Bible. And it's these kind of fulcrums that people are getting over, where we're just we're at that point where it's a little at a time, but they're becoming more and more prevalent. And we're seeing more and more people start to go, hey, wait a minute. And I think that this is what we're talking about. We're talking about
truth.
people, yeah, because you've got two sides fighting like crazy in our political environment, and they're both full of shit,
Right.
right? Both of their
Right.
paradigms are bullshit. And so choosing one or the other isn't, I mean, I'd like to try to help people out of delusion as much as I can, but uh, I'm not the person who's responsible for doing that. All I can do is try to promote the fact that, listen, there's this thing that Oscar called Vista or Vista, which is an expanded awareness. It's bigger vision, right? Suddenly you have this vision of seeing more dimensions out there.
Right.
Things take on a brighter, they seem to radiate light. You can see out as if you're looking across the universe. You can see stars. Things are moving. You can see beings that you could never see before. And more and more people are at least getting to that point where they're saying, what I have been doing hasn't been very functional, but now look at what I'm seeing more and more and more as I open my mind. It's mind opening.
Absolutely. I was actually, it happened to me the other day, and I was driving down the road, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't know, this
You
might
have to
not be
pull over.
good. I really, I was like, God, everything's looking real clear. That's not a good thing, man. Not when you're going down the highway. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I think when I said, "Wow, this may not be a good thing," I think they sort of pull back, but yeah, I think that's going to be happening more and more to people. I really do think that we need to support that idea that, be optimistic and be ready. Just be ready. You
Be,
don't
oh
have
yeah.
to, just be ready, man. And that's kind of, I
Hmm.
guess, probably what our elders been teaching us all the time. It's like, you know, I go back to the Be Here Now. Remember that
Yeah.
book?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have it.
Um, yeah,
I got to
I
put that
can't, what
on
was
our
the guy's?
reading list.
Yeah, he's just that was the first, that was my
Hmm.
first eye opener. I was like, God, this is
Yeah.
right. And so I think the Be Here and Now is really being present in the moment is just super hyper important right now, and it's going to get
Exactly.
more and more important, because you're basically saying, I'm here, I'm ready to receive. If I can receive it, then I can emanate it and send it forward to other
Right.
people, and we'll create a network, of soul beings here that
Yep.
are emanating forth this radiant energy. Maximum effect, minimum effort.
Yep. And it goes
You
back
know,
to the so much of our training is to learn how to shut up, because as soon as you're not transmitting everything that's in your mind all the time, then you can
right.
quiet. And once you can quiet, then you can receive. And that's where the training comes in. At least it was for me. And sometimes I needed to do something that just like slapped my ego out of the way and took care of it. for a little while so I could
You
go,
know,
oh, hey, wait a
that's
minute.
going to be that's going to be the challenge. You know, it's like
Hmm.
Mariana Williamson the other day was on her podcast was saying, you know, but the thing is we just got to get out of the way.
Yeah,
You know, we should have got out of the way a long time ago, you
right.
know, but it is what it is. So now let's just get out of the way, you know, don't, and there, you know, these patriarchal forces, for lack of a better term, are going to keep trying to create conflict to pull people into the fray because that's the
Hmm.
only hope they got. That's the
Yeah.
only there's this last desperate grasping onto their power,
Hmm.
and and the truth is, it's over.
Yeah. It's
It's over. You
it's
know,
already
I mean, the cat's out of the bag, man. You're not going to
over.
stop this.
Yep.
So, are you complete on this one? Do you think?
I think I am, and I think our time's up as well. So look at it. Isn't it amazing how well we do this? You know, we're good for a half hour, and then the air goes out. Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean, I enjoy this, man. I really do. And I think other people are going to be enjoying it too. You know, we hope you guys are enjoying it. You know, it's fun
right,
to just sit around and shoot the bull like this because uh, who knows what you might come up with.
right. Something's going to hit somebody somewhere, somehow.
Really, really.
All right. Well, I would like to say to everyone out there, this is Stronghorse and Oakwalker. We have been BSing on the essence of life and taking care of our souls. And we are deeply grateful for the participation that you've shared, for everything that you've done to help us get through this. And you can visit us on the web at earth-ems, it's capital EMS, .org. So please look us up, and we'll be seeing you soon then. Thank you.